Mike is vivacious and outgoing. He never knows a stranger.
He's definitely a prankster. He's a funny guy to talk to, that's for sure.
It brightens the day up. And he loves to golf, I know that.
I like to hang out with him and go to basketball games with him, football games.
Enjoys being active and on the go. He never wants to be in the house for too long. If somebody needs something, he's there for them. He's just an all-around genuine guy. We had been just coming off of a couple really busy weekends. He was just getting ready to go back after having some foot surgery in November and needed to get going on his physical activity, get ready for a PT test for work.
We play basketball at the same time every week. It was a Tuesday, like 4 o'clock. And everyone's showing up, we're all stretching, warming up, and everything was normal. Actually, that day, Mike was having a really good day, and he was guarding me and made a couple shots, was just talking all this trash. We were playing for like 15, 20 minutes at this point, just full court, running up and down. And he just kept saying, he's like, oh man, I'm just tired, I'm tired. I'm like, oh, okay, that's all right, like if you need to sit, like that's okay, we got other people that can jump in. He's like, no, I'm all right, I'm just tired.
Passing the ball in, and I turned around, I saw him on the ground. And I rushed over there to turn him on his side because he was kind of foaming in the mouth.
So I went and ran to my phone and called 911 while Dan started performing CPR. Knew it was pretty serious, but in the time, like, you know, it was just action time. You just don't think about it, you just do. Dan was doing CPR and he was getting pretty tired, so I switched on. And
then I checked his pulse to make sure his pulse was still going.
They actually had an AED here. And I know one of the guys started getting stuff out, and that was right before the paramedics arrived on scene. They started using the equipment, and it was a surreal moment.
Me and my mom were cooking dinner. She came home early.
Heard my phone ring and thought, oh, I'll get it here in a minute, let me get a load started. Came back up and another phone call, and it was one of Mike's work buddies. When he answered, I figured he was with them and this was a joke that he was telling.
I saw her face and it didn't look good. She hangs up and she says, my dad has collapsed on the ground. And at that moment, I was really scared. I didn't know if he was gonna be alive or not.
When the paramedics got there and deliver, electrical shocks to help get a rhythm back on Mike, they were unable to get return of spontaneous circulation, so a new device was even used, which is called a Lucas device, where a mechanical CPR was administered en route here to the hospital. At the time that they're traveling, we're activating our cath lab here at Bryan and setting up, getting prepared so that the patient can be transferred and initiate the rapid process of the heart catheterization.
I'm trying to play it cool. I'm a mom, I'm a seasoned businesswoman. Just because someone says collapse, you don't necessarily think the worst. So I kept telling myself, don't think the worst, could be anything. His commander walked in and she was in uniform. So that made my heart sink. I think any military spouse knows that means not good news. Captain Kupka had come in and he was actually in workout clothes. He was the first one that kind of delivered that news that they had been doing CPR on him. It was a couple hours before the doctor came in and said that he had had a severe heart attack.
And his artery that had ultimately closed down and caused this whole event was reopened less than an hour after it occluded. And the guidelines recommend trying to get this open as fast as possible, and that's the key to recovery and the goal of getting the heart function back to normal.
They'd put him into a medical-induced coma for the next 2 days. He said, in all accounts, he died on the basketball court, and luckily he was brought back. And because of the actions of the men doing CPR and the use of an AED, that if it wasn't for those two things, he probably wouldn't have even made it this far. From there, it was just working with the doctors and sitting and waiting and hoping that he would wake up and still be Mike.
I woke up cold, finding out that they lowered my body temperature, and wondering what just happened. There you have two arteries that combine at a point, and I had a blockage just right about there. It was 99 to 100% blocked. I think they say I'm part of the 1% now that have survived a Widowmaker. I think the next day is when that hit me, of the magnitude of what could have been. My daughter and my son, not growing up with a father now, losing my best friend, my wife. And the same thing for her. The gravity of that just really hit with me, that I was that close to being out of their life. The AED and them doing that CPR, what prevented me from not being something totally different.
You try to say thank you, and you try to show that you're grateful to the men that were there on the basketball court that night, of what they did for him, or the paramedics, or the medical staff that just knew what to do.
Being involved in Mission Lifeline and the activation of the 911 system is so important in that upstream activation. Don't try to drive yourself to the emergency room, or if a coworker's having chest pain, don't try to drive them. Activate that 911 system immediately. In Mike's situation, our cath lab was ready, and so right when he hit the door, we were ready to start doing our work.
Your focus on life definitely changes when you realize that just being alive is a gift.
It was a team effort of a bunch of people that helped get me and my family through this event. You can go out to their website, and it will give you everything that you need to know about heart disease, about cardiac arrest. I mean, this could happen to anybody at any time, and it's very important that we fund that so they can keep giving people these resources to help throughout their life.